I would love if you don't read my diary. Undated. These entries have been compiled partly from the diary I kept during my first year at Monster High. It's helpful to reread them from time to time so that I do not forget and make the same mistakes again. August 10th. I was summoned into my father's chambers today. He is usually much less formal with his children and often comes to find us when he needs something. A formal summoning is usually reserved for those times when one of us has done something wrong or we are about to be given an assignment. Since I'd never been given an assignment, I immediately tried to remember what I could have possibly done wrong. I racked my brain, but the only thing I could think of was that maybe it had to do with my archery skills or the sad lack thereof. I hadn't been able to hit the broadside of a kraken's heart when I first started, and although my aim had improved, anyone who happened to be on the range when I showed up to practice usually found another place they had to be, and quickly. I was all ready to defend myself when I walked in, but Father cut me off before I could speak, with the announcement that I would be getting my first assignment. I was shocked, happy, and nervous all at the same time. After all these years, I would finally get my chance to make my father proud and put into practice all the skills I had learned under his training. He smiled at me and said,
Charclo Arganthone Cupid. When I found you on the doorstep those many years ago, my first thought was that you had been dropped off at the wrong temple. You were neither human nor Olympian, and I was at quite a loss to know what to do with you. But you were so bright-eyed and calm that something told me you had a place here. You have learned much, but not all, for the rest may only be gained through experience. Thus, I am sending you to a school called Monster High, because it is a place in need of your skills, and also a place where flaws are not looked upon as obstacles to success. You will enroll as a student and continue to hone your craft in a way that best suits the monsters you will be helping. I will check on your progress from time to time, but I will not interfere.
Then he gave me a big hug, told me that he loved me, and then I received my first real bow and arrows. My father had it customized with a laser sighting device that he said would considerably improve my accuracy.
I do not foresee this as being your most effective tool, but there will be times when nothing else will be sufficient for the task.
I said goodbye to my mother and my siblings, and then Father snapped his fingers and I was standing in Headless Headmistress Bloodgood's office.
Welcome to Monster High,
she said.
I've been expecting you.
August 13th. Headless Headmistress Bloodgood has allowed me to remain invisible for the time being as I get acquainted with the school and the students here. I shall go to my classes and she will give me my exams privately in her office. She agrees with this because she believes who I am and what I do would cause major disruption if I just showed up unannounced as a new student. She says that she is working on an idea to introduce me that should cut down on the potential chaos. In the meantime, I shall see if any monster is in need of my help. August 25th. After much observation, I have brought together a couple with much potential. He is a werewolf and captain of the Monster High football team, and she is a mummy and captain of the Fear Squad. Much to my delight, my arrows both flew true and struck the intended targets at the perfect moment. I foresee them being together for a long time, and I can't imagine anything but good coming from this match. September 20th. I am beginning to think that maybe I acted a bit hastily in pairing Claude Wolf and Cleo Denial. I am not counting on Cleo loving herself as much as she does, or Claude's love for the game he plays. This is becoming very confusing. My arrows are supposed to be foolproof, but even though they are still together and appear as happy to every other monster, I know they're not. Cleo is also beginning to have affections for a Gorgon boy named Deuce. I suppose I could ask my father what to do, but I want to work this out on my own. I can't be flying home every time I have a problem I don't think I can solve. November 1st. Claude broke up with Cleo today, although he let her tell every monster that she dumped him. Now Cleo's dating Deuce. Claude's sister Claudine believes her brother has been done wrong and is very angry at Cleo. And I find this all very confusing and, well, confusing. I almost shot Claude and Cleo again, but then thought better of it. Maybe just randomly picking out two monsters that seem compatible isn't the best way to go about this. I have somehow made a mess out of something that should have been so easy. I guess this is what my father meant by gaining experience. Oh, and Headmistress Bloodgood wants to see me tomorrow. I can't wait to have that conversation. November 2nd. She didn't look up from her desk when I came into her office.
Well, you certainly made a mess of things with Claude and Cleo.
I almost asked her how she knew I had a hand or arrow in it, but when she did look up, I could tell that she knew it was my doings. Headmistress Bloodgood told me to follow her, and I did, all the way up a winding set of stairs that ended at a locked door. The door looked thick and heavy, and when she opened it, there was a whoosh of air. And then I was staring into a small broadcast studio that looked like it hadn't been used in many years. An old reel-to-reel machine was the only piece of equipment that seemed to be in working order. The headmistress pointed to it, saying,
This is where the pre-recorded weekly Creepateria menu was broadcast from. But I'm thinking you might be able to use it for something more creative.
November 16th. It took a couple weeks of hard work to get the studio in working order, but when it was finally ready to go, instead of hearing, "Today's featured Creepateria entree will be Scorpion Stinger Scurry," my classmates heard, "Love doesn't have to be scary. Give Cupid a call, and let's see if I can get your relationship haunted in the right direction." For what seemed like forever, the phone sat silent, and when my first call finally did come in, it surprised me so much I almost jumped out of my chair. The call was from a boy, and as soon as he asked his question, I knew this was where I needed to be. He said, "My girlfriend and I broke up 3 months ago, and it still feels like some normie put a stake through my heart. Will this pain ever go away?" I thought for a moment and said, "Only if you let it. Right now, you're using that pain to relive a relationship that's been undead and buried for 3 months. Let it go." Then, the phones really lit up. Some monsters wanted to argue, some wanted to ask follow-up questions, and some just wanted to hear their own voice on the radio. I think I can put my bow and arrows away for the time being, because something tells me I'm going to be much more accurate with a microphone than I ever was with an arrow. Undated. Jump forward a year or so, and I've learned so much that I can look back and see how little I actually knew when I first left to come to Monster High. January 10th. Ghoulia has been helping me track down what kind of monster I am. She thinks that I may be a rare bone elemental. She said that bone elementals are found only in the loneliest parts of the catacombs, and were created to be nannies for newly hatched dragons, because mother dragons hibernate after they lay their eggs and don't come out of hibernation until the eggs hatch. If I really am a bone elemental, then why was I dropped off at my father's temple? Ghoulia didn't know, but she promised to continue to dig into the matter until she finds an answer. I am curious to know, but I love being who I am so much that what I am isn't nearly as important. February 1st. A caller today asked if I was dating any monster. When I asked if he wanted to audition for the job, he hung up the phone so fast that I think it created a mini sonic boom. The fact is that I don't get asked out very much at all due to the following reasons. 1. Whenever I date a guy, he thinks that because I'm Cupid, that I must know absolutely everything about relationships, and they're so afraid that they might say the wrong thing that they don't say anything at all. 2. If a guy crushes on me, either his friends tell him that I must have shot him with one of my arrows, or he thinks that himself and immediately gets angry that I must have manipulated him into the situation. As if. 3. Guys are afraid that if they do something to offend me, that my father or one of my aunts or uncles will put some curse on him so that he'll end up rolling a rock uphill for like ever. Okay, my aunts and uncles are pretty fond of me, so maybe this one has a little merit. 4. Guys think that if they dated and then broke up with me, I would make them fall in love with a plate of Brussels sprouts. I don't even think one of my father's arrows is powerful enough to make that happen. 5. Guys don't ask because they think I have so many dates I would just turn them down. Apparently they never read reasons 1 through 4. Oh well, I guess when the right monster comes along it'll happen, but until then, my advice will just have to be for everybody else.